Hey guys, what's going on? It's Hunter here, and welcome back to yet another video. I kind of alluded to me making this when I was doing my commentary over the Cold War impressions and why I don't upload video. And yeah, I don't know, I just kind of thought that I'd sit back and kind of just fill you guys in on how my last couple of years have really been, just with life in general. There's definitely been a lot of ups and downs, and I kind of wanted to look back on so that way I can always reference it and, never forget it. And I honestly don't mind sharing a little bit about my life with you guys. So, if any of my friends see this, you guys pretty much already know what's happened in the last couple of years. But for anyone that doesn't, just sit back, relax, and if you want to listen to like a mini podcast, then here you go. So I guess the absolute best starting place that I currently have would be starting in 2017. 2017 was not a bad year until September. Before that, it was honestly a normal year. Everything seemed to be going fine. And then at the end of September in 2017, I want to say one of my best friends died in a motorcycle accident. It was someone that my dad worked with for a couple of years, and a bunch of shit went down with my parents, and we ended up all living together for 2 years. And he was kind of someone that I looked at more or less like a brother than a friend. And he was coming home on his bike one night, not too far from my house at all, and hit a telephone pole. We don't really know what happened, what resulted in him dying or anything, but whatever the reason is, it doesn't matter because it still happened. And life got very weird for a little while after that. I'd never had to cope with the loss of someone in my teenage years or, while I was growing up. My papaw died when I was like 6, and my great-grandma died that same year, but, I was 6 years old. I didn't really understand what grieving was fully. And then, that hit me like a fucking freight train, dude. It gets easier to deal with, but, I'm never gonna forget him. He played a very instrumental part in my life and was there when other people that should have been in my life, quite frankly, weren't. And yeah, that's pretty much all I'm gonna say about that, cause I don't know, my memory sucks, and it's actually kind of upsetting that I don't remember more with him, but yeah, I loved him, man. He was a great person in my life, and anyone who was close to me around that time knows how much it genuinely impacted me for a while. It still does to the day. Someone I spent most of my time around with other than my friends, and yeah, I don't know, life has definitely had its ups and downs since then, so let's fast forward a couple months. So as many of you may know, I'm definitely a big advocate for weed. I currently don't smoke right now myself because thyroid issues again, which that's going to be a very hot topic of this video. But yeah, I don't smoke anymore, but then I most definitely was smoking very heavily at that. And not just because he died, I've always been an avid smoker since I was very young, but probably started to a bit more excessively after he passed, I'm sure. But those couple months after, I was just drinking and smoking with my buddies, just trying to get out of the house as much as I could. I really do thank my friends a lot for being there for me during one of the darkest times of my life. And, I'm pretty shitty about going and hanging out with them nowadays. Not just because of COVID, we'll get into that, but, if any of them ever listen to this, I just want them to know that, I care about all of them. I just need to I need to come around more than I do, and I realize it. It's just, regardless of if I realize it, it only really matters if I, actually own up to it. But anyways, so, sorry, had to move my mic. A couple months go by, and then in December, I met my ex, which was my first ever real relationship, My friends still bust my balls about her and everything else, just being my friends and, whatnot, but, I don't know, man, at that moment in my life, it seemed like the best possible thing that could have ever happened to me. And for a while it was, I was happy in the beginning, and she wasn't I don't even want to start talking shit really, but she didn't fuck me over in the beginning, to say the least, at least to my knowledge. And first 6 months were great, honeymoon phase or whatever the fuck they call it. And then it really wasn't that bad up until the end, to me anyway, but two sides to every story. So anyway, fast forward 6 months into the relationship. If you've heard my first part of my thyroid story, which I made a video on a while back, but I fucked up the mixing on the sound, and it's very hard to hear me. I'll pretty much just start from there. So, June of 2018, I get my first job working under the table at a restaurant with my buddy, Seth. And we're washing dishes. He's getting 10 an hour, I'm getting 9. It was a weekend thing. And I work a couple shifts, everything's fine. I'd smoke weed before my shifts, like normal. And like I said, everything was okay. I was actually making money for the first time in my life consistently, and I figured that that's what I'd be doing for at least a couple months. And then the fattest turn in my life next to Ethan happened. I remember I went into work. Of course I got stoned before work, and I'm not recommending that you guys do that, I'm just being honest here. And, me and Seth, we stopped at a 7-Eleven and grabbed some 5-hour energies. I drank that bad boy, the whole thing. It was extra strength at that, and they recommend to only drink half. And I wonder how my life would have panned out if I would have only drank fucking half. But, I drank the whole thing, and everything seemed fine for about 2 hours. And I started having cramps in my stomach, and I thought, okay, I need to shit. To put it bluntly, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I thought I had to shit, so I went to the bathroom, tried, nothing happened, went back in the kitchen. Sensation got way fucking worse. I go to the bathroom, thought I had to shit, puked, didn't really shit, and then went back to the kitchen again and got extremely fucking lightheaded. So I got super dizzy, was sweating profusely. From my elbows down on both arms and my knees down on both legs, they felt like pins and needles, like they had went to sleep. I then continued to keep puking probably 4 times that day, and I didn't drink or nothing, so that was very out of the ordinary for me to be puking that much, quite honestly. And I know that these aren't details that most people want to hear, but it's part of the story. It's something I have to include to be descriptive. And And anyway, so I call my ex to come pick me up, and she does, because at the time I didn't have my license. And sure enough, she comes and picks me up. I just figured I'd sleep it off and hope for a better day the next day. I don't remember if I smoked that night or not. I don't think I did. But I went to bed. I woke up the next day with my heart beating out of my fucking chest. And little did I know I was going to be having a panic attack from pretty much that night until that following fucking Sunday. But I woke up that morning and puked a little bit, and that was the last time I did from that. I tried smoking weed to calm myself down. It made my heart rate even faster. So instead of chilling in the 120s, it went up to 130s and 40s. And even without smoking, my heart rate would chill in the 130s. And I was just having probably the worst anxiety I've ever experienced in my entire life up to that point. And needless to say, that was probably the worst fucking week of my entire life. Just dealing with my own health and actually, if I'm being honest, like almost fearing for my life at that point. And yeah, so I ended up going to the ER for my very first time at 18 years old, and thought that I had something wrong with my heart for the longest time, which thank God I do not. I'm very blessed to be as healthy as I am, minus my thyroid issues. But anyway, I go to the ER, I get checked in, they're looking at my heart rate, it's very high. I get my very first blood test done ever, and as someone who hates blood, not needles, I hate blood and the thought of something going in my vein. The dumb bitch nurse burst my fucking vein the very first time I ever get blood work done. So then she re-sticks me and then actually does the blood draw. And then they come back and they don't bring up my thyroid. All they say is that my potassium is low. So they give me potassium. I leave the hospital with a 70 to 90 in that range heartbeat. And they send me home. I don't remember if I took the meds that they gave me. I don't think I did. I'm pretty sure I waited till I went and saw my cardiologist, who was actually the one that told me I had thyroid issues, essentially. He said my thyroid levels were very out of whack. He started me on the same beta blocker I'm on right now, I think how you say it is metoprolol ER 25 milligrams once a day. So that started that. I went to my endocrinologist, and I never knew how fortunate I was to have one literally right down the road from me, but apparently some people drive 2+ hours to go and see their specialist, so I'm beyond thankful for that. I got in within a week, pretty much said I had hyperthyroidism. I went and did this radioactive iodine test or reuptake test, whatever the fuck it is, and had to have images of my thyroid done after swallowing a small bit of radiation to see how my thyroid reacted to it. Everything was fine. No nodules, no nothing, no signs of cancer, anything. So I thought, well, hey, that's a plus. I'm not fucking dying of some horrible illness or anything. But time went on. I ended up working at a Sonic that summer in August, making minimum wage, not working shit worth of hours because they didn't want to schedule me, which was whatever. And eventually those pieces of shit just kind of took me off the schedule without really saying much to me. They just, kind of told me to go fuck myself, sort of, and that's it. I never heard from them again. Then, I was jobless for a couple months, still with my ex at that point. I ended up being with her for 1.5 years, and right before the breakup that I'll kind of get into, but not fully, I started working again. I don't know what the fuck I was about to say. It wouldn't be one of my videos without me stumbling over my words, but anyway. I ended up working, if you're from the Midwest, you know what a Meijer is. I worked for a distribution center for them. I started there in April of 2019 and started making really good fucking money for my age. And wouldn't you know it, a month in, after spending $250 to go to her prom that year, I come to find out that she was cheating on me. And it was through one of my buddies. I looked at her Snapchat, and sure enough, I had fucking proof right then and there from her My Eyes Only. And yeah, needless to say, those next 2 weeks were filled with me being fucking stupid and trying to get back a girl that I was pretty much in denial about her cheating on me, but looking back on it, I was just being fucking stupid, and refusing to believe the facts that were being presented to me at that very moment. And after that, I drank for the first time and got drunk on a heart med, which obviously is not the smartest thing in the fucking world, but you know, I was on my med for at least a year at that point, and got drunk the day before 4th of July, and then, you know, over those next couple months, of course, I was upset, once, you know, it kind of all settled in, but looking back on it, I think that was good for me, because it really helps me pick my cards a little bit better. And I drank, I don't know if it was probably out of emotion, but like, I didn't drink excessively. I drink maybe once or twice a week, if that. And when I drink, you can even ask all my friends, I don't drink excessively. They call me a bitch because I don't drink that much, and I'm okay with that. I don't need a fuckload of alcohol to get drunk, luckily, so that is what it is. But anyway, over those next couple of months, I stayed working at Meijer, and then by September of 2019, I started smoking weed again. And from April until the end of August, right before I smoked weed for the first time again after like a year and a half, or not quite a year and a half, like 14 to 16 months, whatever it was, I was smoking CBD weed, which I have videos of on this channel, actually. And yeah, so I was doing that whole time anyway, but then I smoked actual, like, regular bud for the first time, I think Labor Day of 2019, or like the day before Labor Day or something, and then, like, within a week or so after that, I went and took my driving test, and got my license. And something I left out was, throughout the summer, I was actually driving without a license at all, and was essentially teaching myself how to drive, which, whatever, I mean, cool, I still got my license and passed the very first time, so fuck it. I know many people who failed the first time they went to get their license, so I'm pretty proud of that. Passed all my writtens and all that very first try, teaching myself fully, no driver's training or nothing like that. But yeah, I drive myself to work every single day, no license, no knowledge of road laws, nothing like that, and thank God I was okay. But then I went and got my license in September, and I was smoking weed all the fucking time again. I was spending probably $50 to $80 a week on weed, 80 if I was splurging, normally 50 though, and that was enough to get me through, because I had a good deal. Like, I could get 2 grams of wax for $50, and it wasn't garbage wax either. It was actually really good. Or some fire-ass bud for $50 a quarter, and I'd pay that all day. Well, anyway, so smoked weed all through then, and then January of 2019, Meijer finally let me go, because you have to do what's called pulling rate, which you get a pick in the morning, you have your ID card or whatever that you scan in with and scan your assignments and do all that. So you badge in, you scan the pick, it starts a time. Well, you'd have to throw like 11 or 1,200 boxes in 2 hours, which I guess if you look at it numerically, it's not that bad. But you have to factor in weight and all that, the fact that I've never worked out, fact that I've never worked in a warehouse. Like, that's just not me. You know, I've never been that physically active in my life, but I'm thankful for it, because it probably got me in decent shape. I I also didn't bring up that the summer before, when I was drinking, I started weaning, I guess, quote-unquote, weaning myself off my meds, aka me being a dumbass and just not taking my meds while smoking and drinking and doing all that. So then a week or it might have been no, I take it back. It was very early on in February of 2020 that I lost my job at Meijer. I don't know if I said January of 2019, whatever the fuck I said, scrap that. It's February of 2020. Before the pandemic, I lost my job there, which I don't fucking care. I wanted to be out of that place, and I finally had an out because I couldn't go back. And I talked to one of the union reps, and he said that he would have fought for me and all this and blah blah, and I just said fuck that. I literally got a job within a week after through a temp agency at a corrugation place near me, and it wasn't bad for the $12.50 an hour I was making, but needless to say, wasn't my favorite job in the whole world because I had to work afternoons, a 4:30 p.m. to 1 a.m. shift, and that was kind of ass because I couldn't have a social life really. But yeah, I worked there for about a month or so, and then boom, wouldn't you know it, Rona comes in and just tells everyone to go fuck themselves essentially. So then we're in lockdown and all that in Michigan, so that was a fun time. Didn't really do much, just chilled at home. And then I'm sure like a lot of people out there, I started collecting PUA, not really unemployment, but I started collecting PUA, and I'm very fortunate for it because I don't think I would have ever been able to save up as much as I have without having a 20-something hour or an hour job, which at 20 years old is very hard to come by without working for a union or, something like that. So, yeah, very fortunate because I was able to fix a car that needed a $1,200 or $2,200 transmission rebuilt. So that sucks, but it's done. It runs great now. And then I bought my 2001 Pontiac Grand Prix GTX, which is my first ever actually purchased car all on my own. And then, yeah, I paid that off, and I'm very happy with it. It's supercharged. I have subs in it. It's a perfect fucking car for me right now. But literally a day after buying it, my brake lines burst, so that's great. That's another $400 fucking dollars down the drain. So after giving my dad's buddy $900, I ended up having to put out what was it? Gave him 9, that's 4, so $1,300. Ended up having to put out $1,300 in 2 days for that, plus a $2,200 car or tranny for a car, so that's great. Don't take tranny as a bad thing. I'm talking about car transmission. I'm sorry if someone got offended. I was not talking shit or using it as a slur. I'm just saying. But anyway, yeah, and then I met my girlfriend, who I've been with now for a little over 5 months, back in May, and I've been very, life has honestly just gotten better since then. I did kind of skip over something, so I'm gonna backtrack. At the end of February is when my thyroid started acting up again. Started having really, really horrible panic attacks, and I pretty much guessed it by day 2 or 3 that's what was wrong. Of course, thank God that this was before the pandemic. I went in, saw my doctor, got my blood work done, yada yada, whatever, and I've been on my meds again ever since. And yeah, all I really have to say about that is I'm very thankful that happened before the pandemic to a degree. I'm just happy because I didn't have to deal with people being sick or worry about being outside. But it does fucking suck being sober and in the house all the time, so that's that. But in just a couple more months, I am going to have to go back to work, so that's great. And yeah, so that is pretty much my rant and ramble about how life has been for me over the last 3 years. I'm sure I left some shit out, but this has been almost a 25-minute long video of me just rambling, so I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did and you want to see, I guess, more videos like this, feel free to give me topic suggestions down below. If you want to, I guess, like I said, potentially like have me make more videos like this, leave a thumbs up or again comment and tell me how you feel about it, and I will definitely do that. I'm sorry that my thoughts don't really sound all the way there. I am pretty fucking tired and it's about 5 o'clock in the morning. So yeah, again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you when I upload next. See you guys.